Okay, so this is the most complicated part of completing the square, and really is the icing on the cake for any higher candidate. Let's imagine we take the equation that we looked at last, and that was y equals 2x squared plus 12x plus 14. Now imagine I want to know what that graph looks like. Let's put that in there so we don't forget. I want to know what that graph looks like, and previously I would, the only way I would have been able to do that would have been to complete the quadratic formula to find the roots, realise that the 2 at the beginning here, the 2x squared, that would make it a U-shaped graph, and then I would have had to have gone from there and found, obviously, that it cuts the y-axis at 14. But if we wanted to use completing the square to help us do this, we could do it much quicker. Now you remember the first thing we did was we took 2 out as a factor, and we had x squared plus 6x plus 7, sorry about the writing, and then we take the b value, the coefficient of the x term, set it up like that. That would give us x squared plus 6x plus 9, so we need to take away 2. And the last thing we did was we multiplied out by that 2, like that. Now how does that help us work out what the graph would look like? So here, now we can have a look at sketching this graph. I know, I'm going to do some neat versions of this in a minute, x squared looks like that. So if I start at the beginning with x squared, then I would say, well, how is that different? How is x plus 3 all squared different? So perhaps what we can do is move on to the next, have a look at that. So now we have multiple graphs. We have y equals x squared is the grey graph. This graph here is y equals x plus 3 all squared. I can tell that from the graph because it's going through -3 here. So I could read that off the graph anyway. And then why do you think the green one is steeper than the blue one? If we look over at the second load of graphs, the green graph is y equals 2 lots of x plus 3 all squared. So multiplying by a positive value just makes the graph steeper. Doesn't change the root, still goes through x is equal to -3. And the last thing we needed to do was subtract 4. What will subtract 4 do to that green graph? 4 will make it go down by 4. So all of these points, every single point going along, has now gone down by 4. That was the last thing we had. So this dark green graph here is now completely, could either go back to the beginning in its non-expanded form, in its expanded form, and have 2x squared plus 12x plus 14, or in completed the square form it would be 2x plus 3, sorry, terrible writing, x plus 3 squared, take away 4. Now remember, we want to know all the time what the graphs look like. We don't want to have to always use the quadratic formula. We want quick ways to work things out.